right, so we're going to take a look at part A of function and function notation practice, where you are to determine whether each of the following relations is a function and where you need to provide an explanation or a picture of your proof. All right, so for problem one, you will see that we have a bunch of ordered pairs, and you also see that I have Desmos open on my screen, which you should always have. It's a tool that you need to be able to use to be successful in this unit and in this class. So for problem one, I'm going to go ahead and create a table. And I'm just going to simply plug in my ordered pairs. So I have -4, 3. I have -2, -2, 0, -1, 1, -half. I have 1 and 7. So my points are plotted and they all fit within, what I can see. So I need to do the vertical line test now. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use a pen, a pencil, something straight. You can also plug in a line on Desmos and create a range that you can slide this back and forth to see if our vertical line touches more than once. That will tell us whether or not it is a function or not. So I'm going to take this slider now and I'm going to move it and look at each point to see if something is touching more than once. And when I get over here to where x is equal to 1, you can see that there's 2 points that touch. And because of that, and according to our notes, that means that this is not a function. So we would be able to put in our document, not function. Why? Because it does not pass the VLT. You can see that when we have two x values that are the same, and that can run into some problems for us. So that is how you do problem one. So we're going to look now at problem two. Right, so we have y is equal to 2x minus 15, and I'm just going to plug that directly into Desmos. I can't see anything, so I'm going to zoom out. And I can see here now that if I were to do a vertical line test, you can see that there's not going to be a single point where there is going to be where it's going to touch more than once. So as a result, that means that this is in fact a function that passes the vertical line test. We can say over here for problem one that it touches more than once. Now let's look at problem 3. I'm just going to erase this stuff off my graph. And then we're going to look at what we have here. So we also have some ordered pairs. It looks a little bit differently, but we're still going to create a table. So for our first one, we have x is going to be 1, and then y is going to be -1. And then we're going to have 3, and that is going to be equal to 4. And I'm going to zoom in. Perfect. Right. And then I see that I have a 5 with an arrow pointing to a 4, so I'll do the 5, plug in a 4. And then I have a 7 pointing to a 6. And then right over here with that plus sign, the zoom to fit, if I hit that, everything's going to fit now in my diagram. And by looking at this right now, know that this appears to be a function, and we're going to look at it. So I'm going to take my slider, all right, and it touches only once here at that point, only once here at this point, only once here at this point, and then only once here. So if it only touches once, then you have a function that passes the test. Okay. So now let's look at problem 4. And I can just hit these X's right here. It'll clear my screen. And we're going to follow the same process that we just did. We have, we're going to create the table. And also an important note to take from this is watching how I utilize Desmos during this, because you're going to need to use it too. So for problem 4, we have 3 with an arrow pointing to a -2. And then we have a 1 with an arrow pointing to a 0. Right. And then we have a 0 with an arrow pointed to a -1. And then we have a 0 to a 0. So I have these points right here, and they all fit in my screen. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and there's 4. Right. And if I do the vertical line test, I can, as I go through here, it touches once here, but here you could see that it does touch more than once when we have x is equal to 0. So right here and right here, it's touching. So if it's touching more than once, it means that it's not a function. It means that it didn't pass the vertical line test. We'll write that in. Is more than once. So let's move down to 5, where we have a word problem. And in this word problem, it tells us that a car is traveling at a constant rate of 60 miles per hour. Show the relationship between the time driven and distance driven. So we're going to have to create another table, right? And for X, we're going to put in our hours, okay? And, because MPH is miles per hour, and then Y will be our distance traveled. So after 1 hour, our distance is going to be 60. Right? And after 2 hours, 60 plus 60 is 120. And then 3 hours, we would have 180. And then 4 hours, 180 plus another 60 is going to be 240. And then I don't see anything on my graph, but if I hit this plus sign right here, you will see that all my points are now on the graph. And this is just like problem number 2. We're going to have a straight line here, and we can just show this, right, just to be safe. And when we do that, you can see that none of these points touch more than once. So as a result, we have a function, and it passes the line test. And then problem 6. Right, problem 6, we have this little graph here. Let's just zoom in on this. All right, and here it is. Okay, and what we have here, I see some open holes, and according to our notes, if we were to take a line and run it across, okay, it wouldn't touch more than once. It would appear to touch more than once, but we have on the X where X is 1 and X is 2. But because we have those open holes, okay, that means that it's not going to touch more than once. So as a result right there, even though it looks like it might, because of those open holes and because it's written in your notes the way that it is, right, this will be a function. There is 1 through 6. If you have any further questions, please let one of us on the Algebra 1 team know. Thank you.